Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I wanted to do another weekly Q&A. However, the moderator team is on vacation, so there were no content updates, nor was there a weekly Q&A. So we're going to be cutting out that content from the normal weekly recap. Instead, we're going to be going over any community news, achievements, and other stuff like that. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoy and let's get started. So to begin with here, the number one story of the week is of course Lynx Titan getting 200 million experience in every single skill. This is such an inconceivable achievement. I can't even begin to think about the dedication and time that went into this. I think at his peak, Lynx Titan was playing 17 hours a day of RuneScape and efficiently as well. In the last couple of years, he's been playing progressively less and less, maybe down to like 10 hours. But just a few days ago, he finally maxed out 200 mil in mining, which makes him the very first person to get 4,600,000,000 experience in RuneScape, which is currently the maximum amount of experience possible. Lynx Titan was around 300 million experience ahead of the next highest person, which was Hey Jace, and he still has to level up mining and runecrafting, both kind of slow skills. Lynx Titan has the equivalent of 353 level 99 skills, which is absolutely insane. One interesting thing to think about also is will he be able to do the Tears of Guthix minigame? Because you can only do it if you've gained a certain amount of experience in the last week, and I don't know if it tracks it past 200 mil. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see if he can do Tears of Guthix. But beyond that, of course, now he can finally start playing the game. This is by far the largest achievement anyone has ever got in old RuneScape, barring if Warding comes out and then he'll have to get another 200 mil. But we'll have to wait and see for that. Another insane achievement this week is there's actually a level 126 free-to-play Ironman. Now really the big limiting factor here is prayer, because getting your combat skills up as a free-to-play Ironman will definitely be slower, but not noticeably slower than a regular Ironman or even a member's account for that matter. However, when you take into account prayer, this achievement becomes pretty insane because getting prayer experience on an F2P Ironman is extremely slow. I am assuming the EHP method for that is picking up bones in the bone graveyard like this guy is doing here. Clearly, he must know what he's doing. So getting to level 98 prayer would take around 750,000 big bones or something like that. So that's actually an insane amount of time put into that. You're probably only getting like 3 or 4K experience an hour in prayer. So this would have taken a lot of hours. On the flip side of this, a RuneScape YouTuber by the name of michaelrs went ahead and tried to get the fastest 99 in RuneScape history, and he got it in 4 hours and 5 minutes. That of course being fletching. Fletching gives absolutely insane experience for fletching darts, and he just did darts all the way from level 1 to 99, and again it took him about 4 hours and 5 minutes. Now beyond fletching, the only other guy who maybe could contest this is the guy who's going for the quickest 99 with farming, because he's logging out every time he does a tree run. It's not really comparable because that is only comparing in-game time, where if you counted his real lifetime, it would be months. But still, a pretty awesome achievement for michaelrs. Next up here, we had a post by mod Weath saying that with 3 million permanent macro bans issued and 4.5 trillion GP removed from real-world trading accounts, 2018 has been a great year for IC. We will be looking to strengthen the team next year, so hopefully 2019 we'll see cheating accounts caught much faster. 3 million macro bans issued. That is absolutely insane. 4.5 trillion GP removed from real world trading accounts, which if I recall correctly, I thought the total amount of GP in game a couple years ago was like 13 or 15 trillion. So that actually is a pretty substantial amount of GP taken out of the game. So good job mod Weath and the team, I suppose. This week there was actually a new method kind of popularized by this guy named I Am Tedious. I would just go ahead and check out his YouTube video. I'll leave it in the description. However, it's a way to get Slayer experience on a level 3 combat account. It is somewhat of a complicated method, so I'll just go have a look at the video, but it actually kind of opens up a whole world for level 3 skillers, because technically now they're not actually maxed, because you can get Slayer up without actually leveling up any of your combats. This would also be pretty relevant for people who have 10 HP accounts. Next up here, apparently, now I haven't tested this yet, Lobstrocities count towards scorpian tasks, which for me and my Slayer only Ironman account might actually be extremely useful. Now I haven't tested this yet, and it is tagged as humor, so I'm not really sure what to think about this. Maybe you guys know. I haven't gotten a scorpion task on my Slayer only account yet, but this might be a little hard to do because you need a actual scorpion task that's not in the wilderness. So you need one from Turiel or the Mauritania Slayer Master, but this is actually pretty interesting if this is the case. Next up here, a post by OSRS Drugs and Music, and this is a little animation showing you how monster aggros work. Honestly, I didn't expect them to work like this. I thought this would be maybe a little similar to how the music system works, and there would just be preset tiles on the ground that you have to run out of for the aggro range, but it looks like it's dynamic and it changes based on when you leave the tile and when you enter the area. I would go have a look at this because I never knew that's actually how the aggro worked, so it's actually pretty informative. Next up here is an awesome post by the Castle Wars community. Now, I haven't really highlighted them yet, but it's something I've been watching for a little while, and they actually make kind of Castle Wars compilation plays and top 5 plays of the month, and they actually do a nice narration of what's going on and trying to get people into competitive Castle Wars. I'll leave a link in the description to their YouTube channel. They just released a new top 5 plays for November. It's pretty cool, and it does seem like Castle Wars is actually set up to be a competitive kind of esport-esque game, but it doesn't seem like it's gaining much popularity. But I'd go check out the video if you have a minute. And last up here, if you are playing on mobile, there's actually a way to hide the mini-map, which I didn't actually know. If you actually right-click on the world map, you can click minimize and it goes away, which actually gives you so much more room on mobile. I had no idea this feature was in the game, but now that I have it, I've actually turned it off almost completely because I normally know where I'm going, and having the extra visibility is always going to be more useful. So every week I like to go through Reddit and find my favorite suggestions from the last week, so here they are. To begin with, here we have a suggestion by Vaunch, and that is to reduce the amount of Slayer points required to unlock lower level tasks. For example, the Slug Salter, the Reptile Freezer, or the Shroom Sprayer. At those levels, those unlocks are way too expensive because you need every single Slayer point to, well, really skip those tasks, to be honest. And by the time you get enough available Slayer points that you could even unlock those, you are never going to be fighting those monsters anyway because they are way too low level. So I agree with Vaunch, and we should actually reduce the amount of Slayer points that they cost. Even 30 points would probably be excessive because at those levels you were just getting such a minute amount of Slayer points. Like if you're doing Vanica tasks, you're getting 4 Slayer points per task. Like that's way too little. They should be reduced pretty substantially. Alright, once again, here is another Serpentine Helm buff post, but really, we should buff the Serpentine Helm. It's been a long time now. Here's a post by Vital Link. It kind of just goes over other items that have received strength buffs since the Serpentine Helm nerf. For those who don't know, the Serpentine Helm is actually weaker than the Helm of Need Is Not, and the Helm of Need Is Not is like 100 times cheaper or whatnot. The Serpentine Helm used to be very overpowered when it had the Envenom attribute on it, but now that that's been removed, it's just kind of in this weird state where it's a really expensive item only because it is dropped by Zulrah. One interesting suggestion by one of the top commenters here is actually turning the Serpentine Helm into a defensive item without a strength bonus at all. So you would keep the original Venom mechanic, get rid of the strength bonus entirely, and it could be used in more defensive applications. He said it could be best in slot in instances like a God Wars dungeon, and we could get a completely new item as the new best in slot strength helm, which honestly I think it would be kind of fun to get a new item anyway, because the Serpentine Helm for one looks kind of dumb, and I think a new best in slot strength helm should be way more expensive than that and would be perfect for being released with new content. Next up here we have a suggestion by Cree Horus and one of the highest upvoted posts of the last week, and that is to clean up the drop interface. Right now everything is just clustered everywhere, and if you have like a bunch of items on the ground, you can't even pick up items sometimes because it's so far off your screen. He's suggesting for items that stack, make them, well, stack in the actual take item screen. For example, if there are 26 ashes on the ground, just do ash times 26 instead of displaying all 26 of them and the examine option as well. Honestly, just deleting this examine text off the ground would probably be beneficial overall, because who actually needs to examine an item that's on the ground? And it just takes up so much space and just makes the UI way bigger than necessary. I think this would be a great quality of life change that, well, hopefully will get worked on soon. Speaking of quality of life changes, a post by Sir Jard is we should actually have a pinch to zoom on the world map. And I always do this because I assume that that is already a feature. I think most people assume that that would be how you zoom in on the map. Pretty much any map application in any game or Google Maps uses a kind of pinch to zoom or zoom out feature, which is just intuitive and makes sense. And everyone's going to keep doing that until you actually change it in the game anyway. So hopefully they can make this change. Next up here is actually a pretty interesting suggestion by a user named Big Raccoon Boy, and that is an item called the Inquisitor's Grimoire. It would be a new two-handed magic weapon. It requires 75 magic to equip and would give a plus 25 magic bonus. Now, it would have a built-in spell charged using 1 Wrath rune and 1 Blood rune. The interesting part here is you can only attack at melee ranges. So it would be a two-handed offensive mage weapon with a special attack. The special attack would be Litany of Pain. It would drain 100% of your energy, and it would basically be an offensive version of the Staff of the Dead special attack. For 1 minute, deals small damage to targets around the wielder. It would be kind of a PvP weapon, but also could be used in other scenarios. I really like the idea of kind of pushing for either a two-handed magic weapon that has a special attack, or just generally expanding magic to kind of be equal with the other combat triangle. The more suggestions I read like this, the more I think that maybe magic overall just kind of would need to be rebalanced, which would be a huge job, because right now just the way magic is balanced around PvM and PvP just makes it hard to add in special attacks or more unique weapons just because of how magic damage is calculated in the game. So it would probably require a more global rework. But if that ever happened, it would probably be beneficial for the game. Anyway, guys, that is it. I just wanted to end on one last little nostalgia screenshot from before the Grand Exchange. This guy found one from 2013 and used apparently to be his wallpaper on his phone, and was kind of showing you the whole Varrock marketplace area. Because if you remember, different sections for different resources or different items were actually segmented to different areas in Varrock. We had the runes, by the rune shop, that kind of makes sense. We had prayer, fishing, smithing was in the smithery area. We had an armor section and a free-to-play section. Kind of brings me back to flipping items before the Grand Exchange. Anyway, guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back with actually some content updates, hopefully on January 3rd, but if not, January 10th. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.